I'm so excited to see you all here today on this Monday, my I Love Learning podcast. If you don't know me, I'm Dr. Gina Anderson. I'm a learning scientist, an educator, and a lifelong believer in the power of human potential. I started season 4 because I really wanted to share the power of having the courage to create. Because I know innovation rarely begins with perfect conditions. In fact, it often begins with curiosity, learning, and the courage to take the
Yes.
first step. Neuroscience shows us that when we embrace new experiences and we challenge ourselves to learn, the brain actually forms new neural pathways and it strengthens our creativity capacity for not only problem solving, but for growth. And every small step we take reshapes our brain and turns possibilities into progress. And that is why I am so honored today. If you don't know Dearon Tyler II, you are going to be so delighted that you joined us today. He is a certified DOT consultant, a keynote speaker, a certified trainer, and a CEO. And he knows everything about the courage to create. He helps carriers actually stay safe, compliant, and ready for, gosh, the most difficult road that
Yes.
they're going to have ahead. And so I met Dearon a couple years ago, and one thing that it came across very clearly to me is not only his expertise and his knowledge, but his kindness and heart to change lives. So thank you so much, Dearon, for being with me today. And I would love if you would share with the audience what you're passionate about and what you had the courage to actually create.
Right. Well, first of all, thank you, Dr. Gina, for having me. You and the Luma Bright Learning team. It's an honor and privilege to be here today. And of course, I'm passionate about trucks. I tell my drivers in safety meetings and motor carriers, I got diesel in my blood. My father was a truck driver. So I've been around trucks all my life and then been around them in the military. So I am passionate about making sure we understand the importance of trucks and buses. We tend to
Mm,
neglect the buses, so I deal with bus companies too. But it's just, I have a passion. I have this itch, and every time I see a truck, every time I, go down the interstate, I'm looking to see not so much violations, but just seeing trucks on the road because everybody can't do it. So I'm passionate about the smell of diesel, truck drivers doing what they do, and they are the backbone of our country, and I just love doing whatever I can to do to make sure that they stay safe, profitable, and
mm.
compliant.
Yes, I
Um,
love that.
yes, yes. You mentioned about having the courage to create. So this is a big one because I had the opportunity not only to be a truck driver, but
Mm,
working at the weigh stations, inspecting trucks, and then being a former FMCSA safety investigator, going in companies and investigating them. So having the courage to get all the way to the top of the food
mm,
chain, or as regulatory agencies, and FMCSA to me was the top, and then
mm,
having to leap out on faith and having the courage to create my own business, which was just supposed to be for doing safety meetings and mock audits. And boy, oh boy, if you'd asked me this, maybe we're going into our 12th year. So
wow.
if you'd have asked me 12 years ago, I would be here sitting talking with you today. I'd probably said no. I probably would have stopped even before COVID happened. So it's been a journey, and having the faith and the creativity that I believe everybody has within them.
Mhm.
That's how we were created by our creators. So having the courage to create a business and just launch out, leaving a very high, good paying job to just start from zero, no
Wow.
loans, just a laptop, a computer, and my first client walks into the federal building um, the day before I left. So
Yeah.
that took a lot of courage.
Yeah, absolutely. Like what okay, so like you had this moment of like, okay, I'm going to start this business. When what was that like and when did you really realize that you had to pursue this mission of helping companies be safe?
Um, it was just I noticed that I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. To be honest with you, Roadside Manners really started out as a my wife and I decided that we were going to, we wanted a food truck, but we wanted to.
Oh, I love that you wanted a food truck. I
So
got to hear that story sometime.
real quickly, for the sake of time, we decided that we were going to get a tent from
Mhm.
Walmart or the store in Orangeburg was called Roadside. So we bought a tent, had a hand washing station. We had all these deep fryers, and we put up a sign by the road saying, "Hey, Roadside Manners are going to give you the best tasting fish sandwich you ever had."
Oh,
Had cars lined up down the road. We were just frying in front of my mom's yard doing it, and it was just roadside. Man, they said, "Y'all really have some good, roadside manners. This is nice. The everything was great. The food, the customer service,
yeah.
but again, you got to be compliant with the rules. And you
No
couldn't just do that
kidding.
like that. So
Right.
I kept the name, and I just kept thinking, you know what? For my time of stopping 18 wheelers and even cars, but the majority of them were 18 wheelers. I said, you
Mm,
know what? If they just had good manners, good
yeah.
morning, how you doing? Yes, sir. No, ma'am. Those kind of
Mm.
things, they could survive a DOT roadside inspection. So I just took the name and flipped it over to Roadside Manners and started a consulting company. And here we are.
Yes. Oh, good. And maybe someday you can have your food truck and making some fish sandwiches for those drivers. I love that. I love that. So,
Yeah.
one thing that I know about you is you're a certified chaplain and you've seen people at their best and you've seen people at their worst and maybe at their hardest moments of their lives. What have those experiences you think have taught you about this idea of courage?
Um, I would say when you think about courage, it has to do with the ability of doing something that frightens someone. Um,
Mm,
and my business is my ministry. Um, and
mm,
so I go into companies and I'm dealing with drivers and I'm there to do DOT consulting, but I find myself listening
mm,
to their issues, their day to day. So to bring the foundation of what I do off the spiritual beliefs that I have, and then without going in and because I'm not a religious person, without going in and
mhm,
pushing religion, I just go in and say,
mhm,
okay, hey, it's going to be okay. You're facing an
mhm,
audit. There's nothing that we can't fix. Okay, no matter
mhm.
how bad it seems. So to bring the peace into the room and to bring
Aw,
their anxiety and worry down to say, hey, look, we're going to get through this. And sometimes I have to talk people off the ledge. They want to just shut
mhm,
everything down, and before I know it, they end up going through a compliance investigation or doing an audit, and they either pass. And I have had some that fail, and we do the corrective action, put the safety measurements, the safety controls in place, and it's done.
mhm.
They're right back in business. So we have to. I come in and shift that mindset of the DOT is out to get you.
Aw,
It's not
right.
that. Yeah, and
No.
they say it's easy for you to say because you're not the one. And I said I was a bus company owner at one time, and I managed several
Right.
different clients. So, but I'm telling
Mhm,
you, they have a job to do, and if you have the safety management controls in place, there's
mhm,
nothing to worry about. They're
mhm.
human just like you are.
Absolutely, and that compassion and kindness can go such
Yes,
a long way, just like being attuned to your
yes,
voice and the tone of your voice and making eye
yes.
contact and being present, all of those things that you teach and
Right,
you teach organizations when you go in is so critical. And I know
right,
I've seen so many companies, Dearon, that like see safety as a checklist. They're like,
right,
okay, I have this, I have this, I have this. I'm sending
right,
out a safety video. I'm like, no,
right.
safety isn't a checklist. There's how do
Correct.
you create a culture? What is it like to create a culture where safety and accountability and this idea of courage to create become part of your everyday behavior? How do you share that with someone?
The way I do it, and over the last, I would probably say the last 5 years, but I've really been focusing on developing people, developing the
Mm,
leader
mhm,
that's within a lot of people. What I'm seeing is, and you're correct, Dr. Gina, you talk about learning and the different types of learning and how people learn. And
mhm,
being an instructor, I find that to be very key. But what I find is that we have to understand within any industry, but especially transportation, what I'm
mhm,
seeing is a lack of, I won't say a lack of, but poor leadership and poor management.
mm, mm.
We're trying to, like you say, have a checklist. We got everything checked off, but what's the problem? We forget the human element of
Yes.
how to teach people how to manage the culture. we can't even create something until we can create it, but we create something and then we fail to manage it.
Mm-hmm.
So I go in and now I'm understanding how to implement more of the safety management cycle, and we start talking about team building. And okay, we created this massive safety calendar, training calendar,
Oh,
and
right.
that's great. We got it. Okay, who's
Right.
gonna manage it? So now we have to go back in and start thinking about how do we develop those leaders and bring out the creativity that they have so that they can have the courage to create and implement the safety culture that that organization is aiming for.
I love that. And that's why I wear Widget. This is Widget. Widget has superpowers because Widget is
Right,
all about these small moments, Dearon, like these small moments to help us
right.
move forward. And I started the podcast 3 years ago because drivers were reaching out to me and saying, Gina, I'm depressed. I
Hmm.
feel lonely. I don't feel
Right.
connected. And you talk about this idea of the people first, and it's not just a checklist. What would you
Right.
say if somebody's listening today, a driver, a bus driver, a human being that's struggling, and what advice would you give them from your perspective to help them continue to learn and grow and take that one step forward?
Um, we talk about, I mentioned it shortly when I was doing my best to define courage. Most people are just afraid to tap within that inner person. It's already
Mm.
on the inside of you.
Mm.
And we need folks like you that specialize in areas that typically is not mentioned in
Mm.
transportation. We
Mm-hmm.
get, and there's so much. We mentioned this stuff. We talked about this the other day with AI and you know all the stuff, and we're losing the soft skills of how to
Mm-hmm.
communicate. How do people
Mm-hmm.
learn? I would encourage that truck driver, that safety manager, that bus driver, that company owner. You'd be amazed how many company owners,
Mm-hmm.
CEOs are struggling
Mm-hmm.
with this as well. To find that inner person, have a
Mm-hmm.
conversation with that inner person, and then my biggest thing is invest in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much going on in transportation. You talk about distractions with drivers and cell phones and stuff like that. There's so much distractions for safety management CEOs. They don't
Mm.
have, they don't take the time to reel it in and say, hey, look, one of the things I started doing is take a walk around the building. Let me just pull
Absolutely.
away. You gave me a sticker that says I'm a winner, and I
You
pulled
are a winner.
so I put that on my binder that I
Uh-huh.
carry around because when I sit down on my desk and I'm having a moment, maybe I can't get it maybe raining outside, I can look over and says, okay, as bad as this scene right now, I am a winner. And
You are a winner.
it refocuses me. So I'm
Mhm.
telling this individual, you have to remind yourself, yes, you are a winner. Yes, you
Mhm.
have the ability to create, to implement the
Mm.
safety culture. You have everything that you need already on the inside of you. It's not like you have to go find it, but truly you need to invest in yourself too.
Absolutely. This week, we've been doing at Luma a 6 week, I think it's 6 weeks, 6 to 8 week health and wellness challenge. And the challenge this week
Mhm.
is every day to take time for mindfulness and to
Yes.
reflect and breathe and tell yourself that you're worthy. I have this tape right here on my desk. I should show you my desk sometime. This one says the world is lucky to have you. The world
Right.
is lucky to have you. I have it right here
Yes.
by my computer because some days you're right. It doesn't matter who you are, what role you have. You have
Correct.
to see your worthiness and live it.
Yes.
Find your true self in your heart, in your
Right.
soul of who you are.
Right.
And that practice of discovering your soul of who you are, you find out that the world is lucky to have you because your soul's beautiful. Your soul is beautiful. I mean, what you're doing is
So was yours.
beautiful, and
Yes.
it's like together, no matter what pain you're going through. One of my
Correct.
employees posted today her
Mhm.
experience. She lost her house last week in the tornado. She lost everything. She lost her
Yes.
car. And it's in those moments
Right.
that you have to take the step forward. There's no other
Right.
choice to take a step forward, and
Right.
you have to remind
Right.
yourself that you are, like you said, a winner. And I thank you for sharing that because so many times I think a lot of people listening or reach out, they're looking outward for the answer, but really the answer is inside of each of us. We just have to spend time with
Absolutely.
it, right? I love that.
Absolutely.
My guest last week, oh my gosh, Kyle was an incredible guest, and he wanted to ask you this question because he's doing this research study, Dearon, and what he's
Right.
doing is he's asking people, when you were your younger self,
Uh-huh.
what did you dream to become? Because he thinks and
Right.
he believes that when he talks to young people,
Mhm.
that their dream of who they are today, there's something in there that
Right.
they thought about when they're younger that helped them become their current self. So he wanted to ask you, when you were younger, what was your dream job? What did you think you would do?
Um, be a professional basketball player.
Yes, there you go. There you go. So he would probably dissect that and say,
Uh-huh.
you're a team player, and there's some elements of you being a
Right.
superstar and a basketball player that's what you're doing today. Did you ever think that trucking would ever be part of who you are or what you're doing, or
No, I would have to say no. Even though my dad drove trucks and buses all his
Mhm.
life, and we've been around it, and he was in the concrete cement business. So of
Oh,
course,
wow.
my whole entire yard growing up was full of concrete. So everybody
Yes.
kept thinking I was tall. So tall people play basketball. So he had the basketball go concrete
Oh.
on the. I mean, but that's what gave me the full dislocated knees. Um,
Oh.
so
Mhm.
yeah, so I would always get the ball and bounce because everybody said, you're going to be a basketball player because you're tall. And then I
Mm.
realized there were people taller than me.
Yeah, well, those skills though, basketball, I played
Right.
basketball, there's things you can take away from teamwork that you
That's
put in
right.
your pocket and can help you progress
Absolutely.
forward. I love that. So
That's
next
right.
week, well, actually not next week because we're celebrating goodness this week. We're having multiple podcasts. So actually tomorrow I'm gonna have Alex Ma on my
Okay.
podcast,
Mhm.
and for those of you that know him or don't know him, he has a huge podcast for truck drivers. What do you think we should ask him tomorrow?
I would think after doing some review of what he does, his mission statement was helping drivers reach their financial freedom. And so my
Mm,
question to him would be is, if money was no object,
mm.
what would be the one thing that he would create that would help drivers reach and build that financial freedom?
Wow, I love that question. I love that question. All right, we'll see what he says tomorrow. Alex, I hope you're listening because Dearon left you a good one. What do you hope, Dearon, your legacy will inspire others to have when it comes to the courage to create?
Um, the biggest thing, we had this conversation probably about a week ago. The To understand their value and to take that value and share it with others so that others could do the same thing, have the ability to take the courage to create,
Mm,
um, to understand their value, to be able to not be afraid, to step out even in those uncertain times.
mm.
Because in those uncertain times is when creativity is at its best.
Yes, I love that. That's
Yeah,
so true. Oh, people don't realize that. They start wallowing in what they don't have. But think about the moments that gives you the courage when you don't have anything, right? You
right,
don't you have the courage to step out and say, take a risk,
right,
because the risk will be worth it. I love that. Where can people
right.
find more about Dearon if they want to work with you, learn more about you? Where
Yes.
where can they find you? What
Mhm.
where are you at?
Well, yours truly has started another entity, Darren Speaks. So Darren
Oh,
Speaks is
okay.
on. We have a YouTube channel. We got
Wow.
actually after this, I'm getting ready to record a couple of videos to upload in there. So we're on YouTube at Darren
Okay.
Speaks LLC on YouTube, and then also you can find me on LinkedIn. Just type in Dearon Tyler. And then what's really catching traction is
Yeah.
DOT Made Compliance, DOT Made Easy with Dearon Tyler
Mm.
on Facebook.
Oh,
So you
I'm gonna
won't
check
see
that
Roadside
out.
Madness. Check that out. Yeah, we're just posting videos as we're traveling around. The wife will record, and then I'm narrating in the background. So I'm
Okay.
not driving in holding a cell phone.
No.
So,
Next
yes.
time you come down to Mount Pleasant, you're going to have to go on Rifle Range and 6 Mile Road. There's a family that has a food truck there. And I want you to go, you can go interview them and tell them about your story to have the courage and create. They're down there. That would be a great video for you to put on your YouTube. I look forward. We're going to post all of Dearon's stuff, you all. He is an incredible leader, mentor, just an awesome person. All right, Dearon, tell us today, leave us with some lasting advice that you would like to share before you leave us today that we can put in our pockets.
This may be a little different than normal because I always tell all my truck drivers and trucking companies and bus companies, my goal is to keep you safe, compliant, and profitable. But my mentor, John Maxwell, has instilled this in me. He says, Dearon, everything rises and falls on leadership. And so we're saying that, and to cultivate that into our world is we have to understand that we have to make safety a part of every decision. Okay. Yes.
I love that. Well, I'm going to remember that and put that in my pocket because safety starts with each and every one of us. And thank you so much for everything you do. Thank you for coming on my podcast. And thank you for spreading kindness and love wherever you go. Until next time, everyone, we will see you. Thank you for watching us.